Melissa, the I Love You virus, and Anna Kournikova, they're not just pieces of code written by generic programmers. They're crimes with their own stories and even their own brand of detective.
The truth is that as these threats, particularly email threats, as they travel through the internet, they leave tracks, they leave signatures, and as people analyze those, one can track back. It's often just a matter of time and effort to analyze these threats as they pass through the internet in order to be able to trace them back to their origin, but it's almost always possible to do that.
Steve Trilling of Symantec is one of these virus detectives.
Threats come in all forms. They come certainly in the form of computer viruses, as we've seen, threats like Love Letter, Anna Kournikova. We also see threats that come like the recent Code Red Worm that spread over the internet, not through email, but simply through the web from one web server to the next.
The first question for one of these detectives is, who's the victim?
Corporations tend to be the victims of targeted attacks, someone who has it out for you in particular. These other types of attacks, which spread automatically, call them an attack of convenience. They end up tending to attack home users because there's just more home users out there and they're less security conscious.
Internet security firms like Symantec and Security Focus analyze the clues, which can sometimes be found in the code itself. Other times, they're in the manner it was transmitted.
As email travels through the internet, it leaves information in what are called the headers of the email. So anybody looking at the entire body of the email, particularly researchers looking at it, can kind of tell where the email came from. And as you trace back where the mail has come from jump to jump to jump, you can often trace back to the origin.
As people are attacked, their systems detect this and they submit the logs to us, and we can actually cross-correlate the data. As things break, somewhat like a news reporter will jump on it and usually spend several long nights working on the incident.
So far in this mystery, we have a crime, we have victims, we even have clues. But what about motive?
Crimes in cyberspace are not unlike crimes in any other venue, in that there is always a motive associated with the kind of crime that's being perpetrated.
With the growing threat of cybercrimes increasing each year, in 1998 the FBI established its own wing to investigate such crimes.
So the tools and techniques are not unlike in any other crime, meaning that for the most part you have to have people telling you who is doing these things. After you discern the motive, you need to be able to do interviews of those individuals to collect the evidence. You need to do forensics examinations just like you do in a murder crime scene. Only in this environment it is an electronic forensics that's conducted.
The FBI's National Infrastructure Protection Center often relies on private sector companies for assistance and expertise in cracking codes and tracking down virus origins. In fact, private sector logging and tracking of email is often a key component in the investigative process.
It's fairly easy for an attacker to release the first copy of the worm onto a victim box. And if that victim is not paying attention, if they're not doing any logging, if they're not keeping careful watch of their system, they have no idea where it came from. They didn't see the transaction take place. It's ephemeral. It's gone, and they don't ever get to see it again.
Although a whole new breed of detective is playing the cat and mouse game with virus writers, this type of cybercrime may best be solved with a neighborhood watch approach.
That this problem does not stop once you've updated your software. There's going to be potentially a new threat next week, and you need to keep it updated all the time. So as long as people are aware that this is an ongoing problem and an ongoing issue that they need to keep aware of on their computer, they'll not only be protecting their own systems, but protecting the rest of the internet.